gangrene.com. This is going to be a little choppy because I want to go back and forth to a few things. So I'm going to be stopping it, pressing it. I want to go back and look at what I want to make sure I get all my thoughts out there. And the first thing I promised Brooke a long time ago when I first started doing this is that what we were supposed to do is go over this game and then go on to talk about our next game. We're going to do it reversed, okay? Because it really doesn't make a difference who we're playing next week, does it? So let's talk about next week's game real quick. The Bengals will probably beat the Jets. We're good? Okay, we're good. Okay, in the coach's press conference during the week, he said we are going to find out a lot about the New York Jets this week. That's really ballsy. That is really ballsy. I mean, I've heard coaches say that in the past, and if anything, it wasn't an embarrassment. I never remember a coach saying something like that. We're going to see if our team can put up or shut up, whatever it may be. Teams have lost after the coach, but I've never before in my life ever seen a coach say something like that. And then you see a performance like this. So the bottom line is, what exactly did that mean? Is it finalized now? Okay, secondly, is it possible that the GM of our team read all the press clippings, and every time you turn on a sports, at least they got the right guy in charge? Oh, he's got all the responsibility now. He doesn't have to worry about, the owners are out of the way. It's all him. Is it possible that the GM either consciously or subconsciously read and heard all this stuff and just felt like he can do pretty much anything, take risks, gambles, be stuck with, have salary cap money left over and not spend it, go after a number one guy, but say, you know what, no, I'm smarter than everybody else. I'm going to go after 4 number 3 guys, and if one of those number 3 guys ends up being a number 2 guy, a number 1 guy, I'm going to look brilliant. So is it possible that our GM was put up on such a pedestal? And guys, understand this. I don't want to think I'm pointing out anybody. There's nobody more guilty than me. Nobody more guilty than me. Okay, so just so we get that straight, I'm going to keep going, okay? Is it possible that he read all the stuff and then went ahead and had one of the most pathetic, let's call it what it is. That first year draft that he had solved nothing. Nothing. People can say it solved the offensive line, but they allowed a guy to show up at camp 380 pounds, obese. And that's in my video. When I made my top 10 video, I said it back in the preseason. How do you allow a guy for his health to show up in that kind of shape? So you got him as your cornerstone left tackle. And let's say I'm not giving it to you yet because he's not on the field yet. He's been off the field more than he's on the field. Have we heard that before? Ashton Davis, Denzel Mims? So my point is, the first year draft, let's call it what it is. It's an effing disaster. It could go down as a draft that'll make other GMs that we've had, drafts that we tear apart, look slightly better. I'm sorry. It's horrendous. I watched Ashton Davis run around today. Remember in elementary school, you'd have lunch break and you'd all be in the back, we'd all be playing in the outside and we'd talk to our friends, and there was that one crazy kid who was always running around crazy out there, right? That's Ashton Davis. Which brings us to this year's draft. And you know what? I'm not going to touch number 1, number 1A, number 2, number 3. Come on. How kind am I? I'm not going to touch them. What I'm going to do is go after what I talked about in the preseason, that the motto for the New York Jets general manager is throw so much shit against the wall and see how much will stick. That's what we do here. Whether it's free agents, whether it's draft picks, whatever it may be. We throw up, we draft, we go into the 4th round, into the 6th round, and we draft 13 defensive backs. We convert 11 of them to linebacker. And then we're sitting there with a linebacker who weighs about 220 that's taken C.J. Mosley's spot. And in the preseason, I am, again, not smart. What I'm going to show you right now is something you guys were probably all thinking too. I'm only showing this to show that an idiot like me, a true idiot like myself, can think this back in August. And here we are watching it play out against the New England Patriots. Our next guy on the list is a no-brainer. We're going to go right into linebacker. And that's C.J. Mosley. And it's for so many reasons that are so obvious, but I'm going to start out with the most important reason. Okay? Not because he lost all the weight, not because he's going to be faster, quicker. He has got to stay healthy. And it's not because C.J. Mosley. I mean, we're talking about a guy who hasn't played football in 2 years, but that's not even the reason. The reason is of what's to his left and what's to his right. That's the reason. The youth that he has to his left, the youth that's going to be on his right at times. And if you watch that final preseason game against the Eagles, when he didn't play, but Nazir and Sherwood did, those two guys looked lost. So you decided to go into the season knowing you had all that youth next to him, knowing he was out of football for 2 years. It's comical. It's comical. And this is how you decided to go into the season. And only because the way the game was played, that it was such a friggin' disaster, are we not sitting here discussing that we lost by 3 points. And here we are, how many years into your journey, Joe, with all the late draft picks, and we still don't have a mother field goal kicker. The guy won a game for us on a kick that they're still trying to figure out how it made it inside the left post from like 19 yards out. The scientists are looking at it and figuring out how this guy has been aiming for the left post since the day we brought him in. And here we are, and you still are not going to solve the field goal kicker problem. And it's just amazing to me. Amazing. I don't know what to say, but I do. And I'm not going to even pause it. I'm going to go right into it. Here's how we're going to end this. Explain to me the difference between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets this offseason. One team had lost their franchise quarterback the year before. They rolled the dice and gambled with a past Super Bowl winner. And it was a big gamble that a lot of us thought would never work. And it didn't work. And he went out and drafted somebody. We keep blaming everything on the fact that we don't have a franchise quarterback, and we have a pick much earlier than them and get a quarterback who I believe in the long run is going to end up being better than theirs. I do, but that's not the point here. This offseason, we both had, I believe, if not around the same, very close to the same amount of money to go after free agents. The Patriots and the Jets were like 1 and 3, or 2 and 3, or 1 and 2 with the amount of money they had to spend on free agents. The Patriots spent a crazy amount of money. I laughed at them for the crazy amount of money. In fact, watching them play today, Jacoby Meyer, I still wonder, but anyway, the tight ends. But the bottom line is, we had the same. Joe went out and spent it his way, okay? But we ended up somehow with money left over. We always end up with money left over. It's always a rainy day philosophy with Joe Douglas, because somehow that money gets carried over to the following year and you could use it again. But there's one problem with that thinking, and it hit me today. You're never going to use it. We're never going to go after a true number one at any position. What did the Buffalo Bills do for Josh Allen that completely turned his career around? We could all look at this and that. What really turned Josh Allen's career totally around? Stephon Diggs. The Bills went for it. Whatever he's doing with Allen now is not important. What's important is what he did with Allen that first year, that turnaround year when Allen exploded on the scene finally. And I just wonder what the game plan is here. If you're just going to go after bees, and you're going to just try to throw a lot of shit up against the wall. I was so optimistic because we had 2 first rounds and 2 second round picks next year. I believe the first round picks, we'll probably get them kind of right. The second round picks? Why should I be excited about a second round pick right now? What does it mean? I think Joe Douglas, is more excited about picking in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. And you know what the crazy thing is, guys, is that some of these guys, these cornerbacks that we did select or were undrafted, or they're going to end up being really good players. A couple of them are going to be really good players. And that's great, but that's not the point. You need a couple stars, and the stars are gotten a lot earlier. And you're not going to rewrite. You're not going to reinvent the wheel, Joe. That's football 101. You can try all you want how you're trying to do this, but you're not smarter than football. You're not. We wanted a GM to be left alone to run the football operations with no help, no involvement from ownership. Stay the F away, guys. And the problem is with this team is that you really do need an owner. An owner that can lay the hammer down. If he doesn't like the way things are going, not in the press, not in the media, but in a side little room where you're pulled in and saying, hey, for the record, yes, you're in charge of everything, but what the F is going on here? Do you want to talk about last year's draft, Joe? But we asked them to stay out of everything. I haven't even touched on the game yet. Zach Wilson getting hurt. They told me Saleh was upset on the sideline. That's not what I saw. That happened right in front of him. If I were him, I would have been throwing the clipboard at the referee. That was a horrible, horrible, horrible play. And that injury definitely happened on that play, not the next play. How it wasn't a flag thrown there? This nice guy BS routine. These press conferences. Watch a press. You know what, guys? The biggest mistake I ever made was doing this because I got to watch the press conferences. You guys should really sit down and watch 3 straight press conferences with Saleh. I'm sure some of you have. Watch them all in a row. It is a best buddy. You got to see these guys. Maybe they're going to go after him a little bit this week, but you've got to see this, man. Saleh has them wrapped around his finger, man. He is a really good, he's really, really good at this. Really, really good. The laughing and the joking and this and that. I didn't watch, just for the record, it's 20 after 5. I didn't watch, I intentionally did not watch the Saleh press conference after the game because I want to do a whole new video on that. I'll do that tomorrow. But I did not want that involved in this video. So I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm probably going to have to cut the hell out of it. Sorry, Brooke. Didn't really get to talk about the Bengals much, but there's a lot of things in life a lot of us can accept. I just don't like, man, bullshit really bothers me. And I just feel like I just feel like there's major wool being dragged over our eyes here. So anyway, we'll see what happens, guys. Thanks for having me, man. Good luck. Good luck.